Live, sort of. Yes.
Oh, I said ta-da. We need a new catchphrase. We say
we're trying to
every video. We're like ta-da.
I edit these videos, and it's just a real depressing eye opener.
Oh no!
Because we say ta-da like
a lot.
It is funny. I also like doing this, and then I can definitely attest that the actual notice that we all have our isms that we tend to say a lot when we go through our videos looking for like the perfect little moments to add to like the next major video or something. And
yes, and
I want to do like a whole stream of just us saying ta-da.
like,
ta-da.
Wow,
Well, it would not be hard at all. And then the other thing is, I look scarily like my mother, which I don't know that that's a bad thing, but it's just a shocking thing. I'm like, what is my mother doing? It's like,
well, I look like our grandmother.
No,
like,
that's me.
Really like my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that I'm also the more and more I record myself, more and more I start looking like my dad too. So I feel it.
And there's the whole Warsh thing.
Who's talking? You're in.
I was sitting there waiting for my link.
Sorry.
I said it yesterday. I'm sorry.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, everybody's here. Now we just
let's see.
Shoot the shit for 3 minutes.
I'm gonna play around with us, making us look like. Can we put 3 people down?
Are we doing the Brady Bunch thing again?
Yeah, the Brady Bunch flip.
We have to.
Something like that. I don't know. It won't let me move 3 people to the bottom. So I guess what we'll do, just to keep things consistent, is we'll have that.
Don't overcomplicate.
Sorry. I'll switch me. There we go.
That better?
I like this.
Yes, perfect.
Oh, look at the buttons.
Perfect.
All right.
Good.
Oh, good.
Oh, no.
Dax, did you update the intro? Or are we still?
I know. I'm still stuck with last year's intro. I haven't even touched it the last 2 weeks.
No worries.
Although I was thinking about ripping the music from Steamboat Willie.
You can't. Wait, does it count for the music or just the?
I think the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Whole thing.
Do
Which
it.
Is very interesting.
Do it.
I have a question for any of you who drink a lot of wine out of bottles with corks.
Yes.
When the cork breaks in half.
You can try to either use the corkscrew
in there.
You can push it down in there, or you can take the corkscrew and put the corkscrew into. Because I've done that before. Put the corkscrew into the broken bit and.
Yeah, you can reopen it, or you can just push the cork into the bottle.
Shove it down in there. Good.
Cheap wine with a screw top.
That's true.
It's not cheap wine, actually. It's a
No, that's what I said. You need to buy cheap wine.
Yes, that's recommend cheap wine with a screw top.
I understand now why they would why you keep it on the side, I guess, to keep it.
Drink it out of a box like God intended.
There you go. Yes. Hey, I served box wine at my wedding, and it was a big hit.
I love box wine. I'm not unman enough to admit that.
You're drinking wine, Jack?
No, this is not wine. It's bourbon. But I mean, I've broke.
Oh, it came with a cork.
It's a little older. Yeah.
Fancy bourbon.
Ooh.
Like how old?
No, cork to rot in half.
I know that my brother gave this to me like 5 years ago. Old. So.
Is that old now?
I gotta find a corkscrew.
I got a fruitcake that old.
Or like find something to push the cork down into it. I mean,
but then I gotta it's not a whole lot of cork left over to seal it with.
Okay, it's one of those corks on the end of a knob.
Yeah. Of course, what happens to do is you twist when you do it. And you're like, oh nope, that was bad.
So your question is, how do you reseal it? Not how do you open it?
You just drink it.
Yeah,
that's right.
You have to drink
it.
Party foul. You have to drink it now. You don't have any choice.
Hey, Lawrence.
Hey, Lawrence has an idea. How do you undo a cork bottle broken thing?
I'm sure he's got plenty of tricks.
Vivi.
Yep. You ready to roll that beautiful bean footage?
Is it about time?
It is 8 o'clock.
Hot diggity. I gotta find the button. Here we go.
Texas Steampunk Connection coming to you live from various parts of Texas in our bunkers and airships and whatnot. I am Flavio as usual, and with me as always is Thax, the gentleman adventurer, and Jack from Steam Chest. And we have Master Blue Stocking. Say hello, guys.
Hey.
So once again, we are here to talk, probably about steampunk, most likely, because that's what this is about. Thank you for listening to the Texas Steampunk Connection.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You've reached Texas Steampunk Connection. It's Tuesday night. Let's see. It's the beginning of February. I don't know where January went, but
It's
we're
just
flying by. I am joined with Blue Stocking and Jack as usual. And tonight we have very special guests. We have Janie Mitcham and Joe Gill, President and Program Development for the League-Kempner House, which is a Victorian Mansion in Galveston that they have taken on rebuilding and turning into a living museum of Victorian stuff and Galveston history. So we get to talk to them tonight. So if you've ever watched This Old House or any of these shows where they are rebuilding houses, flippers are usually the ones I watch. But if you like house flipping shows, I guess this might fit. But I'm really excited because I love those shows. It's like I'm a do-it-yourselfer, but I'm not actually doing any of it.
It's like I used to buy exercise videos and lay on the couch and watch them and crack my husband up. And I said, well, I have to learn the steps before I try. It's like...
Let's see. The weather's been really nice this last week.
Beautiful. Oh, it's perfect.
We've gotten a little rain and a little cool weather, but today was up in the 70s down here.
We got to the 60s. We got 66. So
we got 73, I think, today.
Nice. Yeah.
Now the weatherman is threatening another cold snap.
No.
This time with rain.
Shut your filthy mouth. No.
Winter's over. We've already had winter.
I still have one sweater I haven't worn yet, so I can do one more cold snap.
I never thought to look at it that way. Yeah, I still have some sweaters to wear.
Winter's over when I've worn every sweater once. And then I'm done with winter.
I've run through all my warm pajamas and my comfy socks. It's time to be done. And besides, didn't the groundhog say it was no 6 more? Yeah, Punxsutawney Phil said no more. Early spring.
Because groundhogs are known for their psychic powers.
Just saying, animals know things.
Yep,
they do. They do know.
There was a groundhog in Kansas that died. Like they brought it out to see if it could see its shadow. Apparently dropped dead.
I think that's happened to one of the Punxsutawney Phils before.
Just one?
Every other groundhog is still alive.
They're all alive.
Because he was scared. Get yanked out of his den.
You mean like during the ceremony?
That's what I'm meant to believe.
Yeah, I think that's happened before.
Got a replacement groundhog.
Aw.
Pupper.
Aww.
Well.
Bites your knee. It's 4 more weeks of winter.
Oh, no.
She would do it too.
Well, it might still get cold because I haven't seen any robins yet. And we always get like a big flock of robins right ahead of the last cold front of the year because they fly just ahead of the cold weather.
So. I think I've seen some in our backyard. I don't know. Our backyard's like a Disney movie. I think I've seen some back there, but I don't know. They kind of,
I don't go outside much, so I might have just missed them. But
all right. Well, Jack. Oh, sorry, thanks.
Oh, I just always feel like February is like going through a gauntlet. And you don't know if you're going to get the big freeze because we did in 2021 and we did in 2022, slightly less. But
And we did in 2020. I was looking back through my emails for university closures. It's just to figure out. And yeah, we've had closures.
Graphing it out.
Yeah, we've had closures every year for like the last 6 years. So yeah, it's
February, man.
I know.
I'm paranoid.
You just never know. You just never know about February. You got to keep an eye on it.
Yep. Got plenty of things in the freezer, and my generator is all charged up. So I was damaged from 2021.
It was rough. It was rough.
It was bad.
Start getting like Vietnam flashbacks.
Hey, PTSD can happen from, it just depends on how traumatized you are. So, well, Jack, you want to
pleasant note?
Yeah, let's move on to something a little more
pleasant. A really dark turn here.
Let's all have a drink and lighten the mood.
Exactly. So,
Perfect
Jack,
of it.
Tell everyone what you were trying to crack into before.
Where were you going with that? Yeah.
Well, I got part of the cork out, so we can actually drink some of it tonight.
Okay. Just drill a hole into what's left of the cork.
It is a Balmore Islay single malt Scotch whiskey, bourbon cask matured. So really good stuff. But it's if you like peat moss flavored,
Don't know that I've ever experienced that.
It's one of those that it kind of grows on you after you've had it once or twice.
So Blue Stocking, you know what Band-Aids smell like?
That's this. It straight up smells like Band-Aid.
I'm gonna pass on that.
That sounds kind of like we used to drink a beer in high school. This a long time ago. It was called Buckhorn, and it was 99 cents a 6-pack. And we used to buy one good beer and drink it first, and then you'd start drinking the Buckhorn because you didn't really care after that. So
it was like 10 steps down from Pearl.
I was gonna say, is it like PBR?
Pearl was a high spot, yeah.
Oh.
Pearl was a good beer.
Pearl was a good beer.
Oh boy.
We're showing our age here because I haven't made Pearl in like 30 years.
People are like, what?
Pearl?
What is that?
Is that true? They don't make it anymore?
Do they? I don't. Maybe they do. I thought they stopped making it.
I mean, they brought Zima back for a limited run.
Yes.
Zima
was good.
I remember when Zima came out. I was too young to drink. I'm like, that looks like a really cool bottle. And finally,
I was just old enough to drink. I spent a lot of time with Zima in the 90s.
Oh, I like Zima.
That and Smirnoff Ice. That was bad.
Boone's, let's get real old. Boone's Farm,
Strawberry Hill. Strawberry Hill.
Tickled pink. Boone's Farm tickled pink.
Yeah.
See, I always had Strawberry Hill was what we always managed to get people to buy us.
Yeah.
I was the age of wine coolers.
Yep.
Which it's funny because you hardly see them anymore because they've been replaced by White Claw.
Yeah. I mean, they've been replaced by hard seltzer, basically. Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Just play healthier for you because I will admit those are so full of sugar.
Yes. Bartles and James was.
Especially
I liked
coconut ones.
I did too. I liked them. I thought they were good.
Of course, I'm the one sitting here drinking the, really sweet orange juice and ginger ale with elderflower.
I love elderflower.
Dip it in one glass.
Dig it.
And I thought about mixing it with anything, but yeah, orange juice would be okay with mixing with elderflower. She got some up there in the corner. I was always one that I like to show people because they're like, "That's a weird flavor."
Dax, what weird beer do you have tonight?
Okay, I got a weird one. I haven't tried it yet. Just got it from the grocery store on clearance. $5 a 6-pack, marked down from 10.
Wow.
Dax's beer corner.
Bear King Brewing.
Okay.
This one is called Ambrosia. Misspelled so they can fit amber in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's an amber ale with maple.
Okay.
So it's Canadian.
That's a good question. It is a Texas beer.
Okay.
Oh, so it's from the Lost Maples, the ones that were carried down during the last ice age.
Lost Maples?
You've never been to Lost Maples National Park?
No.
It's pretty, especially through autumn time, because it's basically just this valley of maple trees. It's central Texas somewhere.
Okay.
Like south of you and probably north of me, I think.
So it's somewhere between me and you?
I'm used to going from the west side of Texas. I'm like, everything's just east.
Everything's just south of me. So
and not to knock your beer, but $5 today, if you account for inflation, that might be a 99 cent.
Oh yeah,
You might be right.
I'm letting that out up front. This is the clearance beer.
It's Thax's weird clearance beer corner.
Is that the dog smelling the bucket that it came out of?
That's not on my side.
No, that's my dog saying hello to Logan. Just came home, so she's
okay.
saying hello.
Oh,
She's part husky, so she's very vocal.
Oh yes, I had 2 huskies.
All right, Thax, give it a
so
shot.
this is a very sweet aroma. It's got a dark yellow color and a frothy head. And there's nothing that screams maple, but it definitely has something going on there that's sort of sweeter. And it's nice. It's really good. The price was right, so I bought 12 of them. So I'm glad it's not terrible.
I'm waiting for the day that you get one that turns your face inside out.
Oh, here's the thing. The one that turns his face he doesn't drink becomes presents to us later.
Oh, ooh. Okay, yeah. Let's not do that.
Like we give Lawrence a basket of things we detested on the show.
Time to have a party and put out all the liquor you don't like.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a white elephant liquor party.
Oh man, that could be one of the that could be like someone has to like raffle in for that or something. They make a whole event.
Does beer go bad? Because I bought this weird lemongrass beer on clearance one time, and it's been in my pantry for a long time. So.
It can go a little funky.
It can go bad. But if your your pantry hasn't had wide ranges fluctuations in temperature, it could still be okay.
Oh no, it's not insulated.
Why would you buy lemongrass beer?
It was on clearance.
The real question.
Well, Tay and my daughter and I were not big beer drinkers, and so we kept buying weird beers, thinking we would find one that we liked.
Yeah, I've done that.
Like this is one that if it went bad, I'm not sure how I would know.
I'm assuming it would have most beer that goes bad has a skunky kind of weird.
Yeah.
Unless
It starts off that way.
Unless you have an IPA, then you'll never know when it's bad. Because
unlike bad milk, when you can just give it to your spouse and say, "Taste this and tell me if you think this is bad."
There was an SNL sketch a few years ago. Here, I think this is bad. Taste this. What?
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Dude, this is gross. Taste it.
That's why you get married, so you have a taste.
Yeah. Exactly.
You taste weird things for you, so you don't have to.
All right.
That's right.
Well,
Beth, what are you drinking?
My usual. And remember last week I said I was going to get the.
Oh, she's got a straw.
Yep, I got my straw. Told you I was going to do it, and I did it. You can get them six pack on Amazon, and they even come with a little brush to clean them out. So it's the Stella Rosa Red.
Huh.
So yep, it's screw top. Screw top, $10 at Walgreens. Toss in a straw, and I'm ready to go.
I've had beer, wines way cheaper than $10. So you're classy. I
am very fancy. What can I say?
Fancy.
And Janie, we have not heard. What are you working on?
Got a tumbler over there.
I drink anything with vodka. So if it's a liquid and you can pour vodka in it, you can.
In college, her nickname was Vodka Lady.
I like the way you think.
Yes. So this is Gatorade. So I can hydrate and get my electrolytes and not be hungover while I drink all at the same time. So.
Your electrolytes and your vodka at the same time.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the time in college when I was still in high school and you had a party and didn't have?
No, we don't need to talk about anything.
So you invited me to come to your party.
To talk about anything that happened.
Yeah, never talk about that.
That was my first experience with vodka.
Yeah.
You guys have known each other.
It ended up with her driving me back home saying, "Don't tell mom, don't tell mom."
Chew some gum. Don't, yeah. Hide. So you guys have known each other for...
We're sisters.
Okay, I didn't do my reading
sense.
for it. Okay.
You didn't catch that at first.
Yeah.
Thax may have, but he didn't let us in on it.
Thax is more research.
We're learning in the moment.
Oh, is that what we call not telling your co-stars important information?
No, this is we're all really busy, and so we don't do our research until the last minute.
Yeah, we know it well.
Full-time job. Yeah,
she knows some things.
Some things, not everything.
We'll keep darkest secrets between each other.
Well, I know Jo because she threw this Bon Voyage party for the steampunk cruise group. They were cruising out of Galveston, and I was not able to go, but they were throwing this party, and they invited anyone who wanted to come. So Erica, Flavio, and I went down to wish them off and wish we were going with them. And that's how we met. Jo, you hosted the party at your Victorian mansion that you were sort of renovating and rebuilding, and we got a little tour of the house, and it was awesome.
That was mine. Actually, you met me. That's my house.
Janie's mansion.
Oh, that's your house.
That was her first one. It was I'm the one that got her to buy it.
It's so Joe's fault.
It's my fault.
I have a saying. Everything is Joe's fault. It's like the 6 degrees of 7 bacon. Anything that's wrong in my life, I can get it over to Joe. Usually in 3.
This is the life of a little sister. Yeah. This is what it means to be a little sister.
This is what it means to be a little sister. Fault. Yes. My whole life, I wanted a little tiny wooden Victorian gingerbread house, just all fancy and cute that I could work on and fix myself. And instead, I've got 2 gigantic brick and concrete like beast of houses. And the first one that you went to was Joe's fault because she has friends she's known online way back from message boards in the old days of the internet. And they were doing a little thing on Facebook when Facebook was brand new about homes for sale in their area. And Houston has, nothing but new homes. They've torn everything down. So Joe was looking in Galveston because there's so many cool old homes. And she came across the Lucas Apartments, which was this white concrete building right before you get to the beach with these shell cast concrete features on it. And when we were little and we go to the beach, we weren't allowed to ask, are we there yet? Are we there yet? So we'd watch for this building because when we saw it, we knew we were right at the beach. So she sent me a Facebook post and said, look what's for sale. You should buy it. Ha And I replied back, oh, I would, but it's sale pending. And like a couple of days later, she sends me another note and said, because she's stalking it, and she says,
I really wanted her to buy it.
She said, look, it's active. So I went with a girlfriend and who's a realtor and said, take me down. I'm not buying anything. I'm not buying. I just want to see inside. I want to know what it is. So we walked inside and started squealing like little girls running around. And I called my husband. I said that, I think you need to come to Galveston. I may want to buy this house. And he's like, I'm not driving down there. Do what you want to do.
That's why you keep him.
But you're on your own. I'm not driving to Galveston. He said, I'm not driving to Galveston to work on a house. So it was Joe's fault if she had not posted it or found it.
It is. Her husband didn't speak to me for like a year.
Yeah. So he's very supportive. We buy and remodel old 50s ranch houses, and he, it's a job for him. He doesn't want to spend his free time doing more, but he's actually very supportive and proud of the house.
Look at this new project we bought for you.
Yes. So if I make a honeydew list, he will come occasionally and help me out in a pinch. But it's kind of my crazy, I call it my weird hobby. So
everybody needs a hobby.
Everybody needs a hobby, but it's actually how I got this house. It's only 2 removed from Joe, because driving to the Lucas apartment to work on it, I pass this house every day. And it was in sad shape and getting worse. And one day it had a for sale sign on it, and the rest is history. So I blame that on Joe, because she hadn't posted about the Lucas Apartments. I wouldn't have bought that, and I wouldn't have been driving to Galveston. I wouldn't have seen that, and I wouldn't have bought that. So it's Joe's fault.
And here we are.
Your fault comes back to me always.
It's always the little sister's fault.
It's always.
I have a
troublemaker. Yeah. Troublemaker.
My mother took me aside when I was very young because she was also a younger sister. And she told me, as long as you're the younger sister, you're never going to do anything right your entire life. So just get used to it.
Well, that's because you're here.
Because your sister will always let you know everything you're doing wrong. And I was like, oh, okay.
My big brother was very quick to correct me. A lot.
Being the middle brother, I always feel like no one ever listened.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
No.
Middle child.
Middle child is
middle child.
So, Janie, when you say this house, you are referring, of course, to the League-Kempner House, which we brought you on to talk about tonight.
Yes.
And that gave us a little background into how you discovered it or got a hold of it. But you started a whole what do I want to say? Nonprofit to get this house back up and running.
It is. I actually bought it thinking I would flip it. So my thought was the Galveston Historical Foundation has a really cool program, and a lot of historical preservation foundations do, where they have a revolving fund where they'll go buy a distressed property and get it fixed up to the point where someone's not afraid of it and can take on the project so that they can save houses that are in really poor condition. And I thought, well, I can do something like that. I can buy it, work on it, get it stable and structurally sound, and then sell it and get my money back. And it'll give me something to do for a year or so in COVID, in lockdown.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for me, once I got in there and saw it, it was all boarded up and dark. It didn't have power. You really couldn't see much. Once I got in there and really looked at it, it's completely original inside. It's just incredible. It's like almost like the day it was built. The Victorian kitchen is still there. The bathrooms, it was never chopped up or changed. All the millwork's there. It's in poor condition, but I just could not bring myself to, gut the kitchen and put a modern kitchen in. Nobody's going to buy a house that size if it doesn't have all the right amenities to it. And so then what do you do with it? So I did a little soul searching and decided to put it in a nonprofit and open it as a house museum. So Galveston has so many beautiful old Victorian homes that are well preserved. But there's only 2 you can tour, the Moody Mansion and Bishop. So people come down and, they want to know what homes they can see. And there's really not a lot that you can get inside. So, and this one is right on Broadway. It's considered what they call the Broadway beauties, the big, big mansions that line Broadway. So it made sense. So last December, my husband and I put the deed over in a nonprofit. So I don't actually own it anymore. It's not mine, but I volunteer with the nonprofit. Joe's a volunteer. And so we're trying to get off the ground. So we did a little bass backwards. I say usually people plan and have capital fund and, raise money and then buy something. And we just like, oh, we have it. What do we do? We threw it in the nonprofit. And so now we're like, oh, what do we do? So we're slow to get off the ground, but we're starting to gain some traction. We just got our first grant, so we're getting a new roof, and we've done a lot of structural work, and we're so excited. We did the steampunk last year with Janie, just hosting a little picnic on the ground, just as a kind of an afterthought. Actually, Janie came up with the idea. And so he was excited, and we had a lot of fun. So he came up with the idea to expand the event this year and have more people at the house and try to actually raise some money for the house. So we're very excited about that. And we've started tours. So we're getting there. But the steampunk event was our first big thing we did at the house. So we have a soft spot in our heart for it because it kind of kicked things off for us.
And that was my fault. That was my idea.
That
was
was
before. It actually was, because it was before the house was a nonprofit.
Yes.
And so the house was included on the driving tour, and so I told Johnny, I'm like, hey, why not start the tour at this house, and everybody can start in the same place, and we can just have a picnic because it has a big yard, and then they can go on the driving tour. And so. And it was so much fun. We had such a good time. We had a couple of long games. We did like a little bit of Victorian stuff, and we had an Alice in Wonderland, style croquet. And so this year it's like going to be much, much bigger. It's going to be an extravaganza.
Well, we're excited about it. Of course we are. One thing that when I think of rebuilding or renovating Victorian houses, from what I've seen on those crazy flipping shows and YouTube channels where people are trying to do that, is that it is an undertaking. There is so much damaged and rotted and rusted and bowing and not straight anymore, that it's years of a project and a money sink and it's huge challenge.
It is the black hole vortex of money sucking.
The money pit.
Because we're in year 4 and still doing structural work in the basement.
Yes, we've been 3 years in the basement. Well, we call it basement. It's the ground floor. If you were the true basement, you'd be a swimming pool down there in Galveston, but it's the ground floor. The house was about to, I think, unceremoniously sit itself on the ground. It had a lot of problems underneath from water and termites and just age. So but it's solid now. It's half the roof was replaced right away. The other half we're replacing with this grant. So we'll be dry. I have to knock on wood. You never know. So we've come a very long way, but we haven't been doing the pretty things, up in the house. So we're anxious to move up and start in the house proper. But all this stuff has to be done first. And it is gross, disgusting, nasty.
It's not glamorous at all.
It is
right. If you've seen any of the YouTube, because it's all been documented from day one.
I watched some of them,
Yeah.
I
love when you watch the home renovation shows and everybody's got on clean clothes and
they're brand new boots and they're brand new work belts.
Yeah, and they're wearing their cute little wedge sandals as they sand something. I'm like, that's not really how it works.
Yeah.
And how they works. And they'll say, oh, there's a problem with the foundation, and they cut to commercial and they come back and they're like, well, we fixed the problem with the foundation. And I'm like, they did it during a commercial and we're on year 4. It's like, how did they get it done in a commercial? But,
you don't realize they came back 6 months later.
Shows, they'll cut away and you'll see like 20 guys standing on the side ready to come in and start working, and you're like, we don't have the 20 guys.
The hosts aren't touching anything.
Yeah.
That's why they look so nice.
No, I go home and take off my clothes and take off my socks, and I actually have like dirt between my toes. I have to, go outside. It's just, it's.
So y'all are hands-on in the dirt and the getting it all. Okay. Yeah.
I've done, my husband and I on the houses we do all the work ourselves. We don't hire anything out. So I've been doing this since I was a little kid. With my dad had me uproofing a house when I was 11 or 12. So I've done it my whole life. Now I'm a little older and a little slower and a little achier. It takes a little longer to recover, but we have volunteers that do a lot of the work. We have a paid mason that's done a lot of the structural work, but all the grunt work, all the going to the dump and the yard work. It's an acre yard. I mowed it with a push mower the first 2.5 years because it had so many rocks and bricks and stumps in it. It was brutal, but we finally cleared it enough that we can have a real lawnmower service come in and mow. So that was a big accomplishment. But the yard's great. You'll see it when you come to the steampunk event at the house. You'll see the yard it's beautiful now. We've got a big clear lawn. We just got some benches in. We've been doing a lot of cleanup and a little landscaping. It's a great place to hang out and just kind of chill and throw a picnic blanket down and
come sit on our benches. Nobody sits on. We bought benches and nobody has sat on them yet.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So if you come to the steampunk picnic, you need to sit on a bench.
Fresh benches.
That's going to be on Sunday, right? At the event.
Yes, that's the Sunday.
Yeah, I can't go to that one.
Come on,
we have to head back
Lucy.
home. I have like 5-6 hour drive back home.
Okay,
It's
well,
over
stay
at 5
in
p.m.
Galveston with us.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, you'll have to come by in the morning on your way out. We'll give you a special tour. We'll give
Yeah.
Might try that. Yeah.
Definitely need to come by and see the house if you haven't seen it.
You can't come all the way to Galveston and not at least come by. And
I would like to. We're up in Denton, so it's
that's the haul to get
it's
back.
a bit of a haul, to get there and back. But we might do that before we head back home. Oh, that's very exciting.
But it's fun. It's a labor of love. I will say, after all these years of working with houses, I don't want to jinx myself, but I've been pretty lucky and avoided injuries for the most part.
Oh,
This
great.
house,
Great. We're going down tomorrow. Now,
this house has.
I'm dialing 911 now, so I can just have the second one to put in.
Yeah, this house I've broken multiple bones already in it.
Seriously?
It's been a tough one. Yeah.
Oh no!
You shouldn't fall through floors like that. It's not healthy.
I didn't fall through the floor. I stepped
There's
in.
a well.
It had a giant cistern underground, like the size of a backyard swimming pool. I mean, it was crazy. The cistern under the house, and it had a brick cover on it, but it had 3 manholes. And the guys were working one day and opened one of the manholes, and I didn't know it. And Joe and I got there early in the morning. I went running downstairs to turn the lights on and stepped into this open manhole.
That hurts thinking about it.
It was jarring. It's just like my brain was like, what just happened to me? What just happened?
There was supposed to be floor here. Why am I falling?
I was sitting there up to my, hanging by my armpits in this hole, and it slammed my rib cage and broke some ribs. And
good.
Joe had to come.
This is my favorite thing, though, because this was.
She's going to tell.
We had just started the YouTube channel, right? So we had been filming since the beginning, but we had just started the original YouTube channel, and we're trying to get like the social media going. And so I heard yelling, and I didn't know where she was, and so I'm going like all over the house trying to find her, and I finally get into the basement and find her like hanging. She'd kind of managed to crawl out of it a little bit, was laying on the floor. And I was like, oh my God. And she was like, help me. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? And she said, take my picture. She could post it. So of course, right, I have to, because my big sister told me to. So I grab her phone and I'm taking her picture, and the guys come up to pull her out of the manhole, and they're looking at me like, what the hell?
What kind of monster are you?
In a manhole, and you're just standing there with the camera.
It's okay. It's for the internet.
I'm like, it is. I'm following instructions. I do what I'm told.
We did not try to recreate it, though.
No. And there's actually a video on it, and everything is like. But that was our favorite troll comment, because one of the YouTube videos where she falls in the manhole, and cracked her ribs, and it's all just like the raw footage we posted. And we, at the time, we had this one troll, and he was kind of funny, and his only comment was drama queen.
Oh my God.
She climbed in there and made it look like she fell in.
A new channel when we had to create a new YouTube channel, so it would be under the nonprofit. So it would be and sadly he didn't follow us to the new channel.
We lost him. We were very sad.
Because he was funny.
Clearly did not like women being in charge of anything.
Oh,
and it's clear who I am. It's my video. I'm explaining.
Every video opens with, "Hi, I'm Janie."
I introduce who I am and everything. And in one of the comments, he says, and then my mason, who I love, Ricardo, who rarely speaks. He's very quiet. He's a silent type, but I just love him. And I talk about Ricardo all the time. And in one of the comments, he said, I wonder who's making the decisions. I hope it's Ricardo and not the woman.
Oh, no.
The woman.
No.
The woman.
I'm going to have her shirt made that just said the woman.
I am the woman.
The woman.
The woman.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So,
That
but
man
we
must
lost
be
him.
Constantly disappointed in life.
We lost him. We were sad. He was kind of funny. Yeah.
He generated views and content, you know.
Yeah. If you're still out there, teeny bag of chips, if you happen to see this, we miss you. So.
Please continue to post.
Yeah. Leave us a comment. Let us know you're okay. We worry about you.
Yeah, there's always going to be one of those anytime a woman. Yeah. It's
my latest injury, I had to laugh because I tend to hurt myself just doing stupid, mundane things. I was literally just walking out the driveway and I stepped funny and rolled my ankle and broke my ankle. And so I spent 7 weeks in a boot. And like 2 days after this happened, I'm in this boot and our liability insurance inspector comes. And he doesn't ask anything about my leg or anything, but he inspects the house and he comes up and actually he talked to Joe, and Joe came and said, well, he said he's going to have to write up the broken sidewalks in the front because it's a tripping hazard. And I'm just looking at my leg going, well,
That's so.
Maybe
but
so.
now he's a volunteer.
Now he's a volunteer. Now he's one of our favorite volunteers.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome.
Yes. He comes and does this for us when we do tours. So.
But I couldn't really argue about the finding on the sidewalk since I had just literally 2 days before broken my leg on it. So now it's been demolished. So
yes.
The sidewalk?
The sidewalk.
The sidewalk. Not my leg.
We got rid of that problem.
That ankle is gone.
Sidewalk's not a problem anymore.
No, I broke my foot the same way. I just rolled wrong on a sidewalk and dropped right. Yeah. Not a good time.
I climb on things. I do all this stuff. I'm fine. I just plain old walking.
Yes.
Or using hand sanitizer.
Oh my God, my worst. I had a horrible thing in a restaurant. I thought I was going to go blind right in the middle of COVID. I went to a restaurant in Galveston and they had like a gallon-sized jug of hand sanitizer with a big pump thing, and it had gummed up and was sticky in the pump.
Oh no. Did it?
And so I go to push it and it doesn't come out. So I push super hard. Well, the thing breaks free and it shoots out and goes like in my eye, like a glob the size of your fist up under my eyelid. And it's like burning. It's horrible.
And I'm laughing.
And I am.
It was so funny.
I'm screaming and clawing at my face. And I'm screaming, water, water, water. And this poor little high school kid behind the counter hands me a bottle of water with the cap on it. I'm like, I can't see, I'm feeling the bottle. Unfortunately, there was a nurse standing beside me. And she grabs it and, takes care of my eye and everything. But my eye swelled up and turned black and the cornea was burned. And people are like, well, where are your safety glasses? I'm like, I was in a restaurant.
It was hand sanitizer.
I was using hand sanitizer, So
wow.
I don't use those pump ones anymore. I'll do it again.
But we are very safety conscious.
But we are safety conscious.
We do.
The house
safety is always our number one thing.
So
yes, the house is safe. We're under construction and you get to see, inside the walls and inside the floors. But it's the parts you can tour and go in and where the events will be during the Steampunk Festival are safe for people to walk around.
So for people who are watching who don't really know about the house or haven't looked, can you tell us a little bit about the house, the age, the provenance? It's was built, we think, in 1893. We have some preliminary plans from September of 1892. And it was designed by a real famous architect down there, Nicholas Clayton, who did the Bishop's Palace, which is probably the most famous house in Galveston. It's a big, gorgeous house. But Clayton did
hundreds of houses and churches and things all over Texas. He was very, very prolific, but this is one of his last big commissions. And he was close personal friend with the gentleman he designed it for, who is J.C. League, who, if you're from Texas, you may have heard of League City, which is just north of Galveston. So League was a land developer, and he went out and, had all this acreage and laid out streets and donated land for public buildings and created League City just out in the middle of nowhere at the time. So he was very wealthy, and he was a little older when he built the house. He and his wife, they had one daughter. She was in her late teens. So they built this gigantic house really to be empty nesters in.
They upsized instead of downsized.
Yeah, so it's a huge house that only had 3 bedrooms, a bedroom for them, their daughter, and a guest room. And I guess 4, you could say it had a servant's bedroom. But it's built to be imposing, and, it was tall and wide. It had a gorgeous portico on the side that was really fun. On the steampunk, we did the cars, the carriage house rentals, and the cars drove through the portico. That was fun. But it's just a fabulous house, and it's built like a tank. And the first floor where they entertained is fancy. And then as you move back into the servants area, it's plainer, and the upstairs is actually a little plainer. So those weren't public spaces where anybody ever visited, just the family. But then he died in, I think, 1916. He had appendicitis and died. And his widow sold the house to Eliza Kempner, who, if you've heard of Imperial Sugar, the Kempner family, that was one of their businesses. And she had been widowed with, I think, 9 children living at the time. And they were from age 1 to 22, I think, when her husband died. So they were spread out over a number of years. So she bought the house to be their family home. And she actually added on to it, which the rooms are huge. She could have divided them up and made more bedrooms, but she chose to add on. So she put a big addition on it and added bathrooms because it was built with only one family bathroom, which I think is interesting because when Daisy, the daughter, was married and built her home 5 years later, she put in 5 bathrooms. So the Victorians figured out the value of indoor plumbing pretty quickly.
Yeah,
so,
they caught on quick. Yeah,
they caught on quick. But she added bedrooms, bathroom, and I think finished out the attic. So the finished space now is about 14,000 square feet. But what just really struck me when I got in and got the plywood off and looked at it is that they added on, but they didn't touch the original. So like the Victorian kitchens didn't have built-ins. They would have had a work table and maybe a baking rack and a stove and a sink. This kitchen is sitting there with just the sink built in. The rest of it's just a room. So it never had a modern, in 130 something years, it never had a modern kitchen put in. It's just like the day it was built, which is so rare to see. So, and these home improvement shows and redo shows, they're always having to recreate trim work and put things back. And once we get the structure fixed, the pretty parts are all there. It's a lot of cleaning and scrubbing and paint stripping, but we don't have to imagine what it would have looked like, or because it's just all intact. And it has these, well, except for a couple of sad areas that had water and termites. And one, unfortunately, it had some incredible Tiffany stained glass windows, which we had to remove and put in storage, and they'll have to be rebuilt. But the termites and the water really destroyed that area. So we've been able to salvage some of the wood. We'll put back and repair, and some will have to be new. But for the most part, you can walk in the house today and really envision, what it would have felt like new. Somebody stole all our door hardware, so we're having
window hardware. Yeah,
window hardware. So we're trying to replace that with the same manufacturer the same ones that were there. So thanks to the internet. I love the internet. It's so great because people are out looking for us. We send out spreadsheets. There's Facebook groups for, antique hardware of a certain period, and people have donated when they find out we're a nonprofit. We've had some people sell us at a discount, some just donate what they have. So we have a little collection of stuff that we'll start putting back on soon. But for the most part, it's just a fabulous, fabulous house.
Well, and what's cool about touring it now is as a restoration in progress, you can see like how it was built, because there are places where there's, no wall. It's down to the studs, or the floor is ripped up, and you can see, the lath work on the plaster work from the ceiling of the room below. And so if you're interested at all in like, how did they build these houses so long ago, now's a good time to come tour the house, because you can really see the bones of it.
So did it sit vacant after Kempner, I assume, passed away?
No, she lived, let's see, when she died, she had a younger, her youngest daughter never married. And so Gladys Kempner actually inherited it, and she lived in it until she passed away, I think in the late 60s. And so they owned it for 50 years or so. And then it was sold to a gentleman named John Samuels, and he's quite the character. He was one of the 50 wealthiest men in the U.S. at the time he bought it. And he had made a lot of money in some kind of coal scheme back in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And he proceeded to just wildly spend all that money. And he didn't buy he bought this house and put his parents in it. He was from Galveston originally. But he bought like an extremely well-known historic home. I've got the name written down somewhere. But he bought tons of art. He was like president of the New York Ballet. I mean, he just inserted himself into society and proceeded to spend all his money, and then ended up being sued by a lot of people over the coal scheme. And he left and moved to Dubai and didn't come back.
Oh, no.
And so the house,
and he lived a very long time.
He lived to be in his 90s. So,
wow.
So the house just sat without ever being repaired or worked on. And his nephew lived there as kind of a caretaker, I guess, and rented rooms to people. And it was kind of a hippie commune. They'd had concerts and
it was known as a wild party house.
It was known as kind of a wild party house. But and they were young people, but they cared about the house. They didn't damage it or do anything to it. I met some of them later after I bought it. A couple of them cried because they were so happy that it was being worked on, because they had written to Samuels and begged him to fix the roof or fix this or that. And he just said no. He wasn't.
Yeah, it's amazing because there's no human damage to the house. So there's lots of termite and water damage. But, all those years it was known as a party house and a hangout, but they were so respectful of the house, and they took as good a care of it as they could without having the money to do the kind of upkeep a house like that needs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just fascinated by the fact that he put his parents in there, didn't update the kitchen. I'm just wondering why nobody bothered with the kitchen after all those years.
I mean, it had a stove. It would have had a stove. It would have had a work table in the middle.
Yeah.
It had a sink. It
would have been functional, but not like a kitchen today.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that somebody didn't put a kitchen in there.
What, a dishwasher in the butler's pantry?
Eliza Kempner, she had, one of the things she did, she had a huge family and all these grandkids, and apparently they had like almost mandatory big family dinners once a week. So they would have, 20, 30, 35 people. They put in there was a giant commercial stove in the kitchen and a second stove sitting beside it. And they did cut into the original vent head and put a gigantic like commercial kitchen vent fan going outside. So apparently they, cooked a lot in it, and it had a portable dishwasher. They drilled a hole in the floor and ran the drain line down into the basement. But I'm assuming they just had a table in the middle that they used to prepare food on. Now it has a big butler's pantry. So just right next to the kitchen is a huge, room full of cabinets where you would store everything. And there's a food pantry behind the kitchen. So the kitchen was used pretty hard. The house was very, very lived in, very lived in.
Wow. Yeah. Just cruising through some of the pictures, and it's what I could see. I would really like to see the inside of it.
Yeah.
Definitely come take a look.
People always tell us they watch the videos, and we've got our, core fan base, and they come for the first time and see it, and they're blown away because the videos and the pictures don't do it justice on the scale of it and the height of the ceilings. And we're kind of used to it. It's like,
it doesn't look that big to me anymore.
This parlor seems a little small. How would you get, but we've had, 30 people seated in the parlor. But it doesn't feel so big to me anymore because I've been there so much. But people come in and they're like, oh, but it's a fun house. It's a fun house. It's a fun property. It's fun property.
It has very good vibes. It was always a family home. It was always a happy home, and so it just has a really good, feel good vibe to it.
Awesome.
And supposedly it's haunted.
And that is always a plus.
Everything in Galveston.
Everything in Galveston is haunted. You can't have a house in Galveston that's not. It's not as haunted as the Lucas.
Oh my God, the Lucas is it's crazy down there. I could tell you stories about it that have happened to me. My mother used to say she didn't believe in ghosts or anything like that, and she'd say, "But I know you, and you you don't lie. If it happened to you," it was really confusing for her because I'd tell her what went on down there, and she'd be like, "Oh."
Well, as Taylor says, my daughter says, even if you don't believe in ghosts, you believe that the Lucas is haunted. So.
There's something going on. We don't know what it is.
It's more poltergeisty type haunting.
Yeah. It's not scary. It's not scary. Haunted, but I'll give you the Reader's Digest condensed version. We were on a home tour, and a friend of mine, we washed every window, and there's 50, 60 windows in that thing. And she and I both locked them because they're these big windows, and we checked everything as she cleaned and washed them. And getting ready for the home tour, my sister-in-law and I were there, and we felt wind and looked around, and all the windows are open, and they're open like this big. And you're like, okay, how did that happen? Because they're not easy to open.
And you were in the house when it happened?
When we were in the house, and we shut them and got ready to leave and felt wind, and she went around, and the windows in the bedroom were open again. And
somebody wanted the windows open.
Okay. We'll leave the window. You win. We'll leave the windows open. It's like, it's not just like a little noise or a creak or something here and there. It's like big stuff happening, but not mean or scary. Just
just energy.
Just energy. Mm-hmm.
Johnny had mentioned his plans to start a new paranormal festival in Galveston later in the year.
Yes, he's doing that. The Ghost Post will be in October of this year.
At the League-Kempner House.
But he wouldn't commit to whether or not your house was haunted.
He wouldn't tell us anything. He was being very coy.
Well, we had an event on Friday the 13th in October, and we had some psychic mediums do readings, gallery readings, and we had some paranormal investigators come in, and they all felt like there was a lot of activity there. In fact, the psychic mediums want to come back. They're coming back in March 23rd, I believe, to do readings again because they were kind of blown away by it and wanted to come back. And
that's fun.
That's fun. Yeah.
But Galveston, with the 1900 hurricane, even if your own house did not have some kind of event in it or tragedy or whatever, there were so many lives lost there that, people say that that energy is just pervasive across that end of the island, whether it was in your house or not, because there were just, there were 8,000 or 9,000 people in that concentrated area that were killed. So
some cities are just haunted.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
But it's
and I just got confirmation from Johnny that the Ghost Coast Festival is planned to be right there at the League-Kempner House.
Mm-hmm.
Were we not supposed to say anything? Sorry, Johnny. Did we? Are we not supposed to say anything?
You should have told us not to tell. That's what he didn't say.
Well, it's funny because he asked if we could have him on the show the next episode so he can respond to us.
Point counterpoint.
The naughty things we've been saying about him.
Yeah, he's been a wonderful supporter. He and Jen Gill with Spooky Galveston, they're putting on the Ghost Coast. And it's so nice to see the community step up and people are interested in the house and trying to come up with creative ways to help us and get the word out and raise a little money and bring awareness to the house. So Joe has been in steampunk forever and knows Johnny and so I'm kind of new to the community, but it's really nice. And, everybody's been just, very helpful and reaching out and, caring about the house. So it was fun. We had a blast last year. So we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I would like to go to the Ghost Festival. I think that'll be fun. Yeah. And that's in October, y'all said?
I'm not sure of the date. Does he have a date? I don't want to say.
Apparently,
I thought he said it was
in 2 weeks.
I thought, yeah,
it's tomorrow. No.
We'll let Johnny. We'll let Johnny talk about it.
Yeah, I thought he said it was October, but I can't remember.
I think it's October.
Yeah,
it's in October. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to go to that. Shut up, Johnny. It's not tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Well, that's a problem.
We are getting on toward 9
Johnny's in
o'clock.
charge.
Yeah.
But we neglected Joe, and I never got to find out what she's drinking. And it's been bothering me the whole hour.
No, it was orange juice, ginger ale, and elderflower.
Oh,
which is a riff on, I don't know if you remember, but at the Bon Voyage party, we had a drink called the Clever Jeanette, named after my daughter, which was blood orange soda, gin, and elderflower. But I had no gin. But this is my homage to the Clever Jeanette.
I must have missed it. I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, that was.
Jack has had an elderflower liqueur that he's brought to the show a couple of times.
I do like my elderflower liqueur. I have to
have the big
my
bottle.
wife for that one, Lex. She's the one that finds good ones and always brings something interesting for me to try.
Yeah, this one is Saint Germain. It's the last bottle I had was not Saint Germain, but the bottle is so pretty.
That's the one that gets placed down. That's the one we have right now currently. Yeah.
I was glad to hear you talk about buying Zima for the pretty bottle, because that is how I select my wines.
Hey, I do too.
If it has a pretty bottle, it must be good. So
I like the labels. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I'll save them. All righty. Well.
I almost bought a car because I like the license plate. So
I bought my new car because it was so pretty. So. Yeah. Oh, yes. Johnny wants y'all to tell us about your T-shirts on your website.
Oh, the merch.
Yeah, Johnny's been promoting y'all over here.
Okay, we've done all this, and I didn't really plug the house. I just suck at this. And
It's all good.
We have a website. We have a website that Joe built for us, League-KempnerHouse.org, and on there we have a little online store now. We have merchandise. We have 2 styles of T-shirts. And hold on.
And we still have Christmas ornaments left over that are painted on wood from the house.
I'm in my utility washroom / office, so I like shoved everything to that side to be neat. But we had volunteers. We used old wood. This is 130-year-old wood from the house where we had to do some demolition for plumbing. And we had volunteers that painted and made all kinds of cute little Christmas ornaments
So
and
cute.
some slate off the original roof that we found on the property. These are little shelf ornaments, and we are working on some other things right now, hopefully a little more steampunk related to go up there. So all the proceeds go directly to the house.
We're a 100% volunteer organization.
We're a 100% volunteer organization. So we do hire, like I said, professional masons. We're obviously hiring somebody to do the roof, but we try to do as much as we can ourselves. So every dollar goes a long way with us. So you can get a League-Kempner House t-shirt. A wonderful volunteer who found us on the internet donated the t-shirt. So 100% of the sale of that comes back to us. So we've just been very lucky. You can follow us on YouTube if you do like HGTV. It is not the clean.
If you want to see her fall in a well.
If you want to see what real rehab looks like, we are not scripted. We are very poorly.
We're not tech savvy, but
we are not tech savvy.
It's real.
It's real. It is real. We do our best to get a new video up every Sunday. And that's, if you just go to League-Kempner House on YouTube, you'll find us. And we're on Facebook and Instagram. And we're learning how to use those too. But
if you, every time somebody watches a video, we get like almost a penny. And it adds up.
It adds up. We have made, since we started our channel, we have made $3,500 off YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's real. So it adds up to real. I tell people, even if you don't
like our insurance.
Even if you don't like it, put it on your phone and start the playlist and turn the sound down and turn the phone over.
I will turn it on tomorrow when I'm at work.
I can tell y'all to do that.
Yeah. Let that roll. Everything helps.
Yeah. YouTube, if you're watching, we didn't tell you to do that, but
although there are
things that people can do, and that money, it all adds up. Every penny adds up.
Every penny adds up. Mm-hmm. And you can volunteer. There's a volunteer button. You can fill out a form.
Yeah, we've had people come in all the way from like the West Coast just to scrape paint.
California
for a day.
California for a day.
Wow.
There's if you ever want to do renovation, then sign up and come on down, and there's always something to do at the house.
There's always something to do.
Always something to do. It might not be glamorous or interesting, but
or you can find out when we're open for tours if you just want to come take a tour. We try to post every Sunday night a schedule for the week, kind of working around construction. So we try to get open at least 2 days a week for tours if we can.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Very cool.
We are very much
looking thank you, Johnny, for reminding us to plug.
Thanks, Johnny. That's why he's the professional.
Yes, he is the professional. Yes.
All right. Let me tell everybody about our patrons who are helping us keep the lights on here at the Texas Steampunk Connection. We're supported in part by J.R. Seeger's A School for the Great Game, in which an Edwardian teen named Elizabeth Bancroft is resentful about being sent to her finishing school in India, which is in fact the British India School for Spies, teaching the family business of espionage, martial arts, and the Tibetan mystic arts. The School for the Great Game is the first in a Steampunk Garage series available on Amazon. We're also supported by Fair Treasures. Fair Treasures is a selection of Texas-made female-presenting costumes and accessories for steampunk and Renaissance wear, one-of-a-kind imported jewelry. You can shop Fair Treasures at fairtreasures.com, fair spelled with an E, or on Etsy.com. Thank you, Kitty, for supporting us. We also want to thank our patrons, Jenny and Ryan Shaver, who have been supporting us for years now, it seems like, and certified aeronaut Natalie McTavish, who has been on our show a number of times. Thank you, Natalie. And a generous grant from the crew of the airship Aberfeldy, Rita and Lawrence Allen, who I know are listening right now. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Johnny is, as I mentioned, is listening in. He will be with us in 2 weeks. Again, Tuesday night at 8:00. So we have that to look forward to as we move closer to April and the Galveston Steampunk Festival, where you'll get to actually see the League-Kempner House and so many other things. Really looking forward to it. Awesome. Is there anything else that needs to be added or said before we roll the outro?
Just thank you very much for having us on. We appreciate it.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much for being on our show and telling us all about the project house that you have that we're going to get to see. It's been great to meet you, Janie Mitcham, President, and Joe Gill, Program Development at the League-Kempner House. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Have a good evening, everybody.
You too.
So once again, thank you for listening. You can find us again on Facebook at Texas Steampunk Connection for any comments, questions, suggestions. If you know of something happening steampunk that's happening soon, we can put it on our calendar, on our Patreon, as well as the list of over 100 comics and graphic novels, steampunk and Weird West related.
You can also email us at texassteampunkconnection@gmail.com. And we're a streaming podcast, texassteampunkconnection.podbean.com.
And if you lose it on Facebook and you want to watch a rerun of this show at any point in time on YouTube, you can go find them on Steam Chest.
And although we've made many, many jokes about Twitter, you can look for us at TX Steam Connect 1 on Twitter.
I never use it. I never look at it. I don't know. I don't understand Twitter. Yeah, so once again, thank you very much. And until next time, mind your gauges.
Mind your gauges.